Florida State strikes big with Duce Robinson from the transfer portal.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst and writer. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. Truly appreciate you stopping in to talk some Noles with me. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, with the NFL playoffs almost here, it's still not too late to get in on the regular season action. FanDuel has an opportunity for you to bet $5 to get $250 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Duce Robinson to Florida State. This is the news we've been waiting on all weekend. He began his visit on Friday. This is big news for Florida State on a number of fronts, but let me just start by saying this. You're talking about a young man that is going to be a leader on and off the field. I had the opportunity to get to know Duce a couple of years ago when he was at the Elite 11 finals in Los Angeles, and he didn't have to be there. Again, he's a receiver. That's about the quarterbacks, and they just have a lot of generic guys coming out there, local high schools that usually shag the balls, etc. Duce came out as an elite recruit, go any school in the country, and he's catching passes, playing as hard as he can. And I'm like, man, I knew he was good. Seeing him on the hoof and all that was obvious. He was truly dominant. But the personality that he has will fit into the Florida State locker room. He's the kind of guy that Florida State fans are going to want to get autographs from. Just a nice guy. That's great. I love seeing that come to Florida State. I'll get to the stats on Pro Football Focus and share my screen here in a moment. But at the same time, the more important thing here is the personality and all the fun stuff. Before I go to PFF, something else I want to talk about. Gus Malzahn's offense goes at breakneck speed when he's got a quarterback that's comfy. They'll get it rolling. Let me give you a scenario. Duce Robinson will play out on the wide to the boundary on the first down, let's say. Maybe he run blocks. They get 5 yards at 2nd and 5. They go hyperspeed. He comes across the formation, is in the slot. The defense doesn't have a chance to substitute. You got a corner, a safety, or a linebacker on him. None of those three work real well in general, but especially slot corners. I don't think they're going to be able to handle him. Only really a boundary corner, the way they're built, that 6'2", 205-pound guy, are about the only ones that are really going to fit against him. There are a couple of those in college football a year. I'm curious to see what Gus comes up with in terms of the different play calls and just formations, because some of his biggest impacts for the Noles will be when he's not even really a part of the play, even though he's on the field. Running the ball, play action fake to him, like a pump fake, and throw to somebody, whatever it is, they can use him as a decoy. And then, of course, deep balls. I'm going to happily show you what he is capable of based on his ability to catch the football through Pro Football Focus. But this is not a unique guy. This is a really unique guy. 6'6", 220, can get the ball down the field, and he can also catch it underneath and make guys miss. At that size, it's pretty rare. So this past season, 23 catches, 396 yards, 17.2, and 5 touchdowns. Keep in mind, Kyle Ford, they had Hudson, they had Zachariah Branch. They were loaded at wide receiver at USC. And he had to rotate in. If he was at a normal school, if he'd have been at Florida State, he caught 50 balls and maybe more. And that's exactly what I expect him to do this next season. He'll be more volume, and there could be some other guys. Also, Hakeem Williams is another big-bodied receiver. You got Amari. You've got Landon. You've got Cam Davis. They got some size at the skill spots to put teams in a problem when they're throwing the ball, when they're pass protecting, run block. Florida State's going to have one of the bigger groups of skill players in college football. It's going to be really, really unique, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. As far as his overall grades, 74.3 for offense, 74.1 for receiving. He's a guy that's a vertical threat. We're going to talk about that now. He had a really good year in terms of his passing depth catches, 20-plus yard catches. I talk about it a lot during the season for Florida State, and this is no different. 7 catches, 223 yards. 31.9 yards per catch for Duce Robinson, 1 score. Medium to 10 to 19 yard range, 7 more catches, 94 yards, 13.4, 3 more scores. So he's capable of beating you there. And he still had 8 catches for 73 yards on those little short slants and screens, 9.1 average, and a score there as well. Duce Robinson is a big pickup for Florida State football, and nobody should even remotely think otherwise. I expect him to have an impact for the Noles next season. I also expect him to have an impact on Florida State off the field. And this is what I mean. Because of him, they're going to get exposure now. He's going to be a SportsCenter highlight guy next fall. He'll be somebody that kids want to be around when they visit Tallahassee. Hey, this is what this guy's like. This is what Florida State's developing. He's going to represent the university well and in numerous ways. Florida State hit the home run today, gaining Duce Robinson. Please like this video. Please hit that subscription. Go ahead and hit that notification bell. And if you would, please share this podcast. This has been Locked On Seminoles. Everybody have a good one.